This is rental car number 54, and today I'm driving the 2018 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport. This is considered to be a mid-sized crossover, which is just a fancy way of saying it's an SUV built on a car frame. Now, this is the base model, and it retails for about $25,000, but if you want to add some bells and whistles, you can easily get the Sport up to about $30,000 to $32,000. And under the hood, you get a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that kicks out 185 horsepower. That means you can go 0 to 60 in about 7.3 seconds. Not great for fuel economy though. 21 in the city and 27 on the highway with a 17.4 gallon tank. Jumping inside, you'll see that you get a nice cloth interior with a center display that has a touchscreen. That's my unsweetened green iced tea, by the way. Before we get any further, I just want to mention this is a brand new car. It had 40 miles on it when I picked it up. Had the new car smell and all the little pieces of plastic all over the car that I got to peel off. Let's quickly take a look at the key fob. It really does have a nice weight to it. Feels like it's made out of quality materials. You get 4 buttons on the front, nothing on the back, and it actually does have a key. So you press this button to pop it out, and then you just get the standard ignition right here to the right of the steering wheel. Steering wheel is made out of nice rubbery plastic. You get the standard buttons. Right here on the left hand side you get your volume controls and then some features to interact with the entertainment. You also get your phone buttons down here on the bottom. The buttons right here interact with the digital display and the gauge cluster, and then you get your cruise control buttons right here. The gauge cluster is a decent size. You get a gauge on the left for the RPMs, gauge on the right for the speed, and then also your fuel, and then a nice sized digital display in the center. I like Hyundai's sort of organization of the center display. Let me just show you. You can cycle through a lot of features, and then here is where you can change all the settings for the car. I have a Kia at home, and this is very similar to the Kia's interface. I like it because you can quickly sort of select screens, and then you can find exactly what you want to change pretty quickly and easily. Over to the right of the steering wheel you have the standard window buttons and door locks, your mirror controls, and then some other controls to interact with the car. You also have a nice size side view mirror with a cutout on the upper left hand corner to give you a wider view of the road. There are no blindside detection on the Hyundai Santa Fe, but this is a nice feature to include. Though I should note that when you look over at the other mirror, you don't get that cutout. The center console is fairly nice. Up on top you get a nice storage setting right here, storage container. It's a decent size, I'd say big enough to hold a relatively large cell phone. A little further down you get a small touchscreen with dedicated buttons on the left and right side. I was able to quickly sort of link my cell phone to the Bluetooth, so that's nice. Also a CD player on top. Climate controls are a little bit strange. You don't get a digital readout. What you get are these lights right here. So for example, it's on cold right now, so all of these blue lights are illuminated. If you want to shift it over to heat, you see those red lights are illuminating. It's not the worst system I've come across, but these lights are very dim and kind of difficult to see in sunlight. Further below you get the fan, and then all the other climate controls. I'm a little disappointed there are only 4 settings for the fan. I'd like a little bit more adjustability, but this dial does feel very nice. There's some nice rubber on the top and bottom. Going a little further down, you get a nice storage area down here with 2 DC power ports, a USB port, and then an auxiliary port. Your gear shift is that's a little bit clunky, but it feels pretty good. 2 nice sized cup holders, and then you get a center armrest with some storage underneath with a nice shelving system right here. On the passenger side you do get a glove box with a nice owner's manual that comes in a leather case. Well, and then some more plastic that the rental company left for me. And there's a couple other things about the front seat. First off, the fuel cap button right here is in a weird spot. It actually took me a while to find it. It does work though. Also, the seats are all manual, except for lumbar support. That is an electronic control. I thought that was kind of interesting that you just get one electronic control and then all the rest are manual. The back seat of this car is fairly comfortable. I think you'll notice that my legroom is pretty decent. This seat right here is pushed back pretty far and I still have about 4 inches of legroom. These seats also recline. You can look right here. So you can adjust the seats just like you would in the front to make it comfortable. Then in the center armrest right here for the front passengers, you also get a DC power port right here. And then this kind of feels like a leather pocket thing right here. I never use these, but it is nice to see that they're putting a little bit more effort into making this nice. Here's a center armrest in the middle. Let's see if we can fold it down. Oh, it's a little tight. This feels really nice. It feels much more solid than the other ones I've interacted with lately. This also looks like it's got, yep, look at that. Cup holders that slide out of the front. It's kind of nice. Let's put it back. There's also some dedicated vents back here. They're in a strange spot. If you'll see, this is the front passenger seat. And then right here, you get the vent with some controls that shift around, and then you can close and open the vent itself. I guess that's nice because it would blow directly at you while you're sitting here. Most of the time with these SUVs, they're usually right here in that center armrest. So the back of this vehicle is actually pretty nice. There is no third row seat, so all the space back here can be used for storage, and there's actually quite a bit of it. And the floor of this space actually lifts up in 2 sections. The first one is right here. This is where your jack is, but you also get some additional storage on the left. And then there's this other unit up a little bit further. It's this foldy piece of plastic. It's kind of cheap feeling, but underneath you do get this sort of modular storage system. It's made out of styrofoam, so it doesn't feel super high quality, but I still think it would be pretty useful. And the back seats do fold down. Here's what it looks like when you do both of them. It's actually pretty easy. You just use those controls that you use to recline the back seats, and you just fold them forward and they fall, without much effort. And then when you do that, you're left with a really large storage space back here that I think you could take full advantage of to move some furniture or help that friend move out of his apartment. Alright, so that's the Hyundai Santa Fe Sport. I drove this car for about 2 days. I put my standard 146 miles on it, and I'm really conflicted about this car. It's definitely not the best SUV I've driven this month. I mean, I prefer the Jeep Grand Cherokee or the BMW X3 over the Santa Fe. But those cars are $10,000, $15,000, or even $20,000 more, so I don't think they're a fair comparison. So if you keep in mind that the Hyundai Santa Fe costs on average about $24,000, I'm going to give this one 4 stars. Would I like nicer materials or maybe a bigger touchscreen? Of course, but for $24,000, I think you're getting one hell of a crossover SUV. So although I'm not sure I would buy this one, I would definitely recommend renting it or taking it out for a test drive. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. All right. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I rent my 55th rental car. I'll see you then.